Anton Martial, all for sale, all up for sale, confirmed by Samuel Lucas, as Sebats was also one of those that really came in through earlier and hinted about the sale of a very huge couple of players at Manchester United, and goes by names of Steve Bates. Is a football writer for the Chief. He's a former chief football writer with Sandy People. That is Steve Bates in there for you. Then Samuel Lucas has gone ahead and really confirmed it today that United is really wanting to sell a player called Anton Martial and very many others. Welcome to this channel known as United Matters channel. How are you guys and where you watching us from? Good to see to it that you guys are still in here and really waiting in for my news and upkeep and updates that are really concerning Manchester United. Now, before we go any further, I want to discuss a certain important issue about Manchester United. It's all about the Leeds manager getting sacked. And it's the team you're going to play in 2 legs, at Old Trafford and away at Leeds. It's going to be the first home game of the Leeds manager that is going to be put in as an interim. Chris Armas, who was at Manchester United with Ralf Rangnick, is rumored to be the manager who is really going to be kept in charge until they really bring in a new manager. But this worries me a little bit because teams that are really having new managers tend to find themselves in a way of pushing themselves to the levels of fighting to the last minute. You saw it over the weekend when Arsenal was playing Everton. Everton was playing under its first manager, or new manager, known as Sean Dyche, and they shocked Arsenal. Looked like Arsenal had nothing to offer in that entire game. But this comes to us when we've lost the most important player in the team of Manchester United, known as Casemiro, a player that has really gone ahead to surprise everyone and those pundits in the Premier League that really thought that he was a better player under Modric and Toni Kroos. He comes in at Manchester United. He obviously turns everything, as he told his agent after we lost 4-0 to Brentford that I'll fix it. He has finally gone ahead to fix it, and every time we see Casemiro out, we feel like, oh, we deserve something better for him not to be out of the game. So as it stands, we are playing Leeds. They've sacked Jesse Marsh, and they are getting in a new manager. So will they survive at Old Trafford and bring in that intensity, or the game away at Elland Road is not going to be hard? I think that one of Elland Road is going to be hard. But we've always beaten Leeds. We have always beaten Leeds without Casemiro. You get? I think last season we beat them 5. Was it 5? It was the opener at Old Trafford. 5-2 at Old Trafford. When we went away at their place, it ended 3-2 in favor of Manchester United. We first scored 2 goals. Then Leeds came back and scored 2. And I think it was Freddie who scores the winner at Elland Road. And I believe we have all the players necessary to win this game of football. I believe Sabitzer in that midfield with Freddie and Bruno Fernandes, they can get that job done. 100% recon that we are going to win those 3 games. Leicester at Old Trafford, Leeds away, and Leeds at home. We are winning those games. I see nowhere we are losing those games amidst them having a new manager. I believe the other reason as to why we are beaten at Aston Villa when Unai Emery came in through, because everyone will remember that day, we were from playing away in Spain against Real Sociedad in a game where we were required to pull out everything to win with 2 goals, and we won it by 1 goal. Amidst Garnacho coming in through with an early score in the first half, we really needed to use a lot of energy because we never scored the second one and we needed it badly. So that puts us in a position of really finding ourselves in a very strong position. And I know Ten Hag knows this very well, that we lost the 3 points away at Villa because of that situation. But this time round, we are not traveling from Spain back to Manchester. We are traveling from Manchester to Leeds. The squad that is available, I think those players can really get the job done and dusted. I think Sabitzer is going to be played into the central defensive midfield. Then later, we can find out the guy who is really going to be into the know of this game as Erik Ten Hag, and I believe he really lead us to where we want to be. And with that win we got against Crystal Palace, I think it gives us another boost of winning the game of Leeds. That's it. So let's leave that at that, because I'll throw in more of that in the match reaction, in the match preview that's going to come next after this video. Then we'll talk a little bit of a Sabitzer and who's going to come with Casemiro, weight all for that in the next video. Let's go to this story that Samuel Lucas broke today via the Manchester Evening News. Has told us that Manchester United are aiming to sell Anton Martial in the summer amid plans to sign a new long-term contract, a new long-term striker. This is Samuel Lucas, and this is what he said. Then United decided to classify Martial as sellable before his latest injury setback last week. I believe the sources at the club, I cannot doubt them, but this time around, however much I also feel like I love Martial, but I think it's time we really let him go because he's never a variable. That's it. You cannot rely on him. He's a striker. When he's playing, he makes us look good. But when he's really away, we look bad. But one thing, can he really keep fit until the end of the season when he returns? Because the reason they are giving, it can really change. It can change because he might find himself fit from March, April, and May. Though it's just a hypothetical. It's something you are getting out of the box that you cannot even bet your money on. Because when did he last be fit? For 3 months. And a stat that really shocked me was that he last played 90 minutes in 2021 when you're playing Wolves. Ever since then, Martial has never played 90 minutes on the field of play. Recently, he returned. In the game of Nottingham Forest, he scores a goal. He got a setback, and he was not available in the game of Crystal Palace. And that pissed me off because I thought he was going to come in through and do the needful for the club of Manchester United. But it shows you why United are really looking to sell him. And I think the other reason why they want to sell him off is simple, is that he's earning a lot of money. You can't be at a club like Manchester United earning £250,000 a week and you are not a regular. Good player, because the fact is they are not taking Martial out of the team because of footballing reasons. No, it's because of his being unavailable and he's being spent on a lot of money. £250,000 a week, £1 million a month, £12 million a year on a player like Martial. Good player, I like him. Those who have been watching me on this channel have seen me defend him for very, very, very many times. But I think if it's time for him to really call it quits and leave the club, it is. Let him leave because we need a reliable striker. We need a striker that is very reliable. And I believe Samuel Lucas has told us who Erik ten Hag really believes is going to bring in. But before telling us that, he went ahead to let us know that it's not only Anton Martial that they want to move on, but Martial is among the players United have listed to sell at the end of the season. United captain Harry Maguire and fullback Alex Telles are among the players who will be made available to buy. Then this relates to the story that Steve Bates put up like some days back, that Ten Hag is ready to make space for big new arrivals in the summer by selling Harry Maguire, Eric Bailly, Alex Telles, Scott McTominay, Donny van de Beek, and Anton Martial as he moves forward with plans to make Manchester United a force again. Now, when you look at all these players, the others can be moved on. Harry Maguire, Eric Bailly, Telles, Scott McTominay. But there are two players that I believe cannot be moved on because who is going to sign Anton Martial when his injury record is really ugly like that? Who is going to sign him? Who is going to sign him? Unless otherwise comes in through and plays some two good months when he's physically fit. But unless otherwise, I don't see United selling Martial. That's where I also want him to be moved on and we bring on another striker, but I don't see United selling Martial because they can't give Erik ten Hag 2 more strikers. They can't. They can't give him 2 strikers. That's it. So, I believe by them doing so, they'll be putting themselves in another huge task of signing 2 strikers. Yet, if you're having Martial and Weghorst, you can bring in Osimhen, or Benjamin Sesko, or Harry Kane, or Giancarlo Ramos, and complement these 3. That means his virtue won't be felt a lot. According to me, Donny van de Beek also, I don't believe that he can be moved on. Do you know why? He has been injury prone. No sooner had he returned, played his 56th game of the season, than he got an injury and his knee really got a problem. It broke, underwent a surgery, and is returning in the preseason. That's when he's returning. So I believe Harry Maguire can be moved on, Eric Baker can be moved on, Alex Telles can be moved on, Scott McTominay can be moved on, but Danny Van Beek and Antoine Martial, there are still huge question marks on moving them on, because I see hardships. Because in which history have you ever seen United selling close to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players? That is out. That is out. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I believe Donny van de Beek and Martial are really going to start Manchester United. A new striker is going to arrive, as Harry Kane is telling us, Samuel Lucas telling us in the next tweet. But Harry Maguire is up for sale. Eric Bailly, already there is a buyback clause of £8 million. Telles is also going to be sold. Scott McTominay is also going to be sold because United are searching in a midfielder, and Scott McTominay is not having enough playing time, and he will move on. Newcastle wanted him at £30 million, and West Ham is also in need of this player. Then there is Dean Henderson. He also wants to move. He also wants to be moved on. So I believe for those we can sell because they want to go out. But for Martial, even if a new owner comes in through, I don't believe a new owner would like, even Ten Hag can really authorize the new owner to go in and spend like £200 million on 2 strikers, because if you take off Martial, that means you're bringing in Victor Osimhen at £100 million, or Harry Kane at £100 million. If you are to bring Harry Kane and Osimhen in the same window, that is £200 million. And remember, we are in a very, very bad situation of the financial fair play. We have to sell to buy. That's it. For us to buy, we have to sell. That's where we are supposed to get our money from, to see to it that we find ourselves in a situation that is going to put us in a very good situation, or in good terms with the financial fair play rule. If we don't do that, we'll find ourselves in the footsteps of Man City, because Man City has today been charged with allegations of violating the Premier League financial rules. And FIFA might come in through also. So I believe we should be so much keen on what is happening at Manchester United and what the world is going to be like. So that's why I believe Ten Hag won't sell Martial. He needs 3 strikers in. He has gone ahead and told us that he's our best striker. And I will be shocked if at all he leaves the club, according to me. Now, Samuel Lucas has really thrown in another one concerning the replacements that maybe United are really willing to bring in at the club of Manchester United. Now, he's telling us that Erik ten Hag has stressed a new goal scorer is a priority in the close season, and United are interested in Tottenham Hotspur talisman Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen of Napoli. Now, the other reason that can really lead to Martial to leave is that he has always wanted to be a man leading that line. But a chance has been given to him this time round. Guess what? He has failed to capitalize onto that chance. He's ever injured. So I think Ten Hag has every reason to tell Antoine Martial that, please, you failed the job. You're a good striker, but I'm going to bring in Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen, because I don't believe we can bring both of those 2 strikers at once at Manchester United. That won't do well Martial, because Martial has always wanted to act as the man leading the line. So he will leave because of the coming in of Harry Kane, because Harry Kane comes in through as a starter. Why? Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen, they are strikers that are going to come in at a minimum of £100 million. No manager can see a player of £100 million on his bench. That manager is out of this world. And the only manager that I've only seen do that is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who benched Jadon Sancho, a player he bought close to £75 million, and he benched him because the moment you go out in the window and buy a player at that cost, that means you need him. You need him. Your system needs him, and you to thrive to go to another level, you need to go ahead and redo the needful. And I think Ten Hag has proven to us that when Anthony came in through and we bought him at €100 million or £85 million, he gave him his debut. On Saturday, remember, he came in on Wednesday, trained on Thursday and Friday. On Saturday, he wasn't to the team against Arsenal, because a player like that, if you don't want to frustrate him, obviously, you just want to really leave him. You just want to start him in every game. So I think Martial has known the situation, and United knows that they can't have him when they have brought in either Harry Kane or Victor Osimhen. Then that will keep him out of the club. But Osimhen scored a brace over the weekend. He's showing some good character. And as I told you that, for me, I don't want Harry Kane at Manchester United. 30 years of age. Why do we sign him? I think it's either Victor Osimhen, Vlahovic, or Benjamin Sheshko. You tell me any of those three, I say yes. You tell me Harry Kane, I say no. And who is wanting Harry Kane? This has gone ahead to shock me. This has gone ahead to shock me. It's the Mirror reporting that CEO Richard Arnold is desperate to lure Harry Kane to Old Trafford after Erik ten Hag told him his priority was to land a world-class number 9 before the start of next season. Now, why does the CEO come in through to really let us know about who is what ten Hag wanting? Because if in this tweet, or this story that the Mirror reported, I think like a week ago, if there was a statement that even ten Hag is an admirer of Harry Kane, I would say yes. But ten Hag is nowhere near the admirer of Harry Kane. He wants other players. He wants Victor Osimhen. He wants Benjamin Sheshko. He's an admirer of Goncalo Ramos, the Portuguese who scored a hat-trick against Switzerland. Those are the strikers he wants. He's nowhere near Harry Kane. Even if you tell him that, get me Brian Broby over Harry Kane, he'll say yes. He doesn't like Harry Kane. I'd like to reiterate the words of Erik ten Hag in his first press conference when he returned from the preseason, when asked about him not signing English players. He said English players are expensive and their quality is really low. So, has Harry Kane reached that level of really putting us to that level of really doing the needful? Mr. Richard Arnold, where in the world have you ever been involved in a transfer? Because when you went to go and really deal in transfer of Frankie de Jong, you traveled, the photos were out in Catalonia, you and Mota, and you turned back with nothing. So, tell ten Hag, let ten Hag tell you what he wants, not what you want. I know Harry Kane is an English player. When he comes in at Old Trafford, UK is really going to be up there. It's going to be a statement signing. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be a record-breaking ever English Premier League player crossing from one team to another. But that's not what ten Hag needs. Ten Hag wants Osimhen. The only way I'll come here and really eat my words is when ten Hag says, I want Harry Kane. When he says he's an admirer of Harry Kane, obviously, I will come here and say, all right, I'm in support of Erik ten Hag. Because when ten Hag says Antoine Martial is our best striker at United, he plays better when we're having him, obviously it's true, but he also says he needs to find himself fit and makes himself available. That's the manager I'm talking about. Now, when stories from credible people come out and say that Erik ten Hag is an admirer of Harry Kane, then I will say, all right, let him come in through. Let him come in through. But he's 30 years of age. I believe this project deserves a striker like Osimhen to come in through. Or Benjamin Sheshko, or Vlahovic. Because why should we spend £100 million on a player who is 30 years of age when he has been having ankle injuries, thigh injuries, hamstrings in his early 20s? What is going to happen to him in his early 30s? So I believe Harry Kane is a good striker. He's banging in goals. But if at all ten Hag is not backing him to come at Manchester United, I'm not backing him. If ten Hag finds it okay for Manchester United to bring in a striker like Harry Kane and believes that we are just a Harry Kane away from lifting trophies, it's okay. I can really embrace it. So, that's it for Erik ten Hag and the manager known as Harry Kane and the man known as Harry Kane, Antoine Martial and very many others. But there is another story from Samuel Lucas as far as bringing in strikers is concerned. He's telling us that ten Hag is also an admirer of Benfica's Goncalo Ramos and Mohamed Kudus, who work with ten Hag at Ajax. For Mohamed Kudus, I believe his chances of returning to Manchester United are really going to be minimal. Do you know why? Mohamed Kudus is a very good player. He plays in almost all attacking positions of the pitch. Can lead the line, can play as a left forward, right forward, central attacking midfielder is in the position he can play. Swift left foot, very talented. But remember, if you're bringing him in at Manchester United, that means you're bringing a player to compete with Anthony. But will it be sensible to bring in a player to compete with Anthony, yet Amad Diallo is tearing up the championship? And secondly, there is Greenwood. Has the club made a decision on Mason Greenwood? Is he returning or not? That is the most important bit of this. So we are waiting to see what is going to happen on the decisions of these players. But I believe for Goncalo Ramos, Benfica wanting 100 million euros for him, I won't fancy him to come at Manchester United because I'd rather spend that money on Victor Osimhen or Benjamin Šeško. I believe Benjamin Šeško is really a great striker who is willing to learn, 19, 20 years of age. You can get him in. Even Vlahovic at 100 million euros. At 100 million euros, or 85 million pounds, Juventus will sell you Vlahovic. They'll get you Vlahovic. So, I believe in this entire saga, the best thing for us to do is to listen to the manager. But Harry Kane to me, unless otherwise the manager really says, I want Harry Kane. But Richard Arnold, sit down, relax and float. Don't pretend that you know anything concerning football. As you said that you're good at finance and managing the club in other financial aspects, do your work there. Don't aim at really coming in footballing matters. Don't become an Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward signed very many players at Manchester United that were uncalled for, that the managers never wanted. And in your first press conference or your first press release, and by the time you were sat with the United fans at the pub who were demonstrating, you told them that you admit the club has been making very many errors, all howlers, in signing players. You admitted it yourself. Do you know why? Because Ed Woodward, who was green at players, was so much in signing these players. So, relax and float. New owners are coming in through. We don't know whether they're going to keep your job with John Mata because you've done lots of things that are really anti-football. But we pray to it hard. We pray to it that we get in the best as a club of Manchester United. So your thoughts on Martial up for sale, Osimhen or Kane in are welcome in the comment section below. Then, what do you think about Leeds? The Leeds game. What are your thoughts about it? Because I believe it's going to be a hard one. And Harry Maguire, Donny van de Beek, Scott McTominay, Telles, and very many others. A huge bulk sale Ten Hag is be looking at in the summer. May the Almighty God bless you abundantly. I go by the names of Rock and David. I sign out for now. See you later. I'm returning back with either a live or what we call the match preview onto our channel. I'm out.